Yeah, folks, welcome. It all starts with you. It sure does. And it starts with me too. It starts with all of us. We are our own hope. We are what makes that justice real. So I'm going to be coming on throughout the day. And while I still have that ability, it's great. And I'm going to do my very best to do some great happy healing. And because I know that that also propels the candidacy forward, and that we need this in any good candidate. So that's what I'll do now. A little bit through the day and always. We have to keep in mind what we're really up against. It's violent in nature. About 4 months ago, before I started running, it was about 5 months ago, I did a show and it was called The Oblivion Monster. Oh, that Oblivion Monster. And if you get a chance, go back and take a look at that. Because as I said the whole time, all of this will add up. It's too much to write a book. So I'm doing media. It's a 21st century solution to a 21st century problem. We need solutions that will help fast. Books don't do that. As the quickest means for media, many people don't even read books in this new age. So we have to use what we have now that we can get to fast. However, there are a lot of dark forces up against the power of truth. You already know that. These dark forces will keep us quiet and closed and shut down. That's why I said I put myself in the face in the valley of love. And I fall forward, because I know I'll get caught every time, and if not, I will break my own fall. And the day that I don't, I'll still be fine, because I have faith. That's what faith looks like in practice, my friends, not what you're doing. And we have to have that kind of faith in order to deal with our problems. And so all of it's doing is just at the heart of it, it's making everybody else. We're starting here in America because we control this place. This is our house, just like your own home is your own home. This is our house. Let's step up to our house. We can't do it in our own state because you can't run your own home state because you're not the head of house. It's the federal government that's the head of that house. So we have to get our house in order. That's why I'm running for president. So we'll approach this in a very pragmatic way. This way here, instead of saying, vote for me for your next president, which was kind of like echoing what the other condescending candidates were doing, we're just evolving. We always evolve. That's what love allows for. Because you gauge and you see what's most important. And then you go right to that. And you see what the people are concerned about and what they're saying. That speaks volumes of truth, to which you come back with also truth and love. It works every time. It works every time. And this would be the kind of president that I would be. Evolving, but getting better. Not the kind of evolving that greed does, which evolves into corruption every time. You don't have to wonder if there's corruption. You only need wonder what kind of corruption and how far did it go. We're actually most grateful to those in this society who don't take their corruption too far. Well, in this campaign, we recognize they all went too far, and so did we all, in that we just need a great age of redemption to go into a new way of thinking. And that's how we do that. And that respects everybody's truth. That's ultimately what liberals want. It's what conservatives want. The only thing we miss now is the courage to see it through. So I say, Don't wait for somebody else. It's you. That's what we're doing here. I'm not waiting for somebody else. It's me. Unless it's you. And then you need to have been stepping up. But if it's you, step up and say the truth. Right now, they're not letting anybody who just walks off the corridor of truth. They're going straight to hell, and that hell looks like a 4x4 cell. Okay? So you can only say the truth in this environment. So you better start figuring out how to make that truth work for you so we don't lose all of our self-determination. But that we can instead let love actually provide us a secure freedom in which we can learn and grow our spirits even stronger. Because after greed, love is not the only thing that'll eat itself. Greed eats itself just by the nature it eats everything. It's almost indiscriminate. It eats love, it eats itself, it eats a lot of crap. It always prefers love, it's the most tasty. You better believe it. Remember that about greed. So greed in the effort to eat itself, after we have chewed up on all the love and there is no more love left, greed is coming after itself. And because it can't make any more, that, my friends, is what the end of the world looks like. Your happy healer told you first. It's just so sad when you see things so clearly and that you see the greed winning right before your eyes. But you change. Because you can. And also because I'm telling the truth. There's nobody coming out with a better truth. Or where are they? I'm challenging you. And together what we do is we learn greater truth in that attitude. That's how we do that. And we have faith. I'm speaking the truth. There's a lot of naysayers and a lot of doubters out there. I'm running for president doing it. And I am humble, and I have been this way for a very long time. What more do you want out of a great candidate? Do I come to you with my flaws? Yes, I do. I come with flaws. Those flaws, what do they look like? Oh, sure, I am a human being. We are all human beings. We can't not be a human being. And our flaws look like the nature of the problems that they created for us. That's all it looks like. We're good people. We're all trying to be good people on the inside, but these compromises, they go too far, and they're going too far in a world where they don't need to go that far. Technology has provided a better path. And so that stream is telling us, use the tools you have. The power, you've already got it. That's a tool too. It is love. And that love is a choice. It's not like lust. Lust, when it comes to lust, it's all about a greedy take. It's not about a gift. Love is a gift. So we just come to these conclusions, we build upon it, we realize that either we're somebody in this world and we're doing things that help us build on that kind of thinking, that helps us develop that kind of a person, our being, and that we all universally love. It's the greatest thing we can do. We all know that feeling, and we want more of it. And it drives our passions. It's why the police officer becomes a police officer. It's his love back to community. He wants to see this world be a safe place. And it's the same reason most of us all have logical reasons. We can build a world based on that power. I believe it, and I'm committed in that, and I know that's true. It's so much more than being optimistic, because love is such the power that even if nobody else goes with it, it works for me in my life. It makes me matter all the way up until the point to where I die. That's right. Love will never leave you forsaken. It is the power that for which all other things are built and created, and it attracts. And it attracts. But sometimes I have to go into different roles, and I do. I'm just giving you the news of the day, telling you just how crappy it is. The truth. And why do we do this? Because we're honest brokers of truth at all times. And because God has given us the ability, we're using every spectrum. And when you use every spectrum, well, then we're all actors. Because we're using every spectrum. That's how we dial in. That's what movies are. That's how they're able to dial in to these emotions. But yet the full and developed human being is not in front of us today. I'm becoming so much more of a full and just completely developed human being in ways that you still need to develop, many of you. While others are, yes, our brother Keith, he's using the gifts for a great purpose. That's right. And I have so many friends, and they would love to say, no, I've done success already. And with the powers that God gives you through love, He is so obvious what you can do with that. But remember, folks, that's why I glow. I glow because of that love. If I were to just give that to the greed, what would happen to that glow? I certainly am not the kind of person, and many of you are not either, that would allow yourselves to just go dark like that. And so I would become depressed. I'm right where I want to be. I'm where I need to be. I love. And that's the beauty in it for me. Even though I come to you with my problems, and they vary, they're no big deal, ultimately you know they don't control me. That is the unifying factor. Because that's why you can never elect somebody that's at the bottom. They're just too radical. They're too irrational. And they're not thinkers. Sometimes, right? Because that greed, they attack them the most. That's why they're putting so much pressure to the top. Think about it. And that I have that insight. And that I'm there now. I'm right there now. And I'm helping other people. See, sometimes I have to remind you where I'm at, because of when I speak, all of that don't matter. It just doesn't matter. We're here for other reasons. And those reasons are important to us. We get to work because we know why we're doing that work. It's a worthy cause. It's the kind of thing that when you know somebody's doing it, you don't pull them away from it. You edge it on. I wish there was somebody out there doing this. I could edge them on somehow. And you know when I wish I most can do that? In my darkest days. Because that's the kind of thing I want to see and I need to see most. And yet it's universally true. It stays true no matter where you are on that totem pole. All the way to the top even. And that's the beauty about it. That's what's making me realize more and more that these answers I'm coming to, they're only the result of so many people before me having had that brave essence to look at the world in a way that helped me build upon that with a fresh perspective. That's why it's important we all remain children at heart in a certain way, so that we're always able to learn more. That's why I always come to you as your humble, happy healer, because I love you. And we have to have that, folks. And don't take my love from me. I love you. Don't you take that from me. I show it every time I make a sacrifice in terms of my life, because I don't want to go dark. I want to be pure. It's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. And it's a fun place to be. And if we can get more and more of society to be there, well, then the party just gets bigger, brighter, better, and ever more strong. You see, we're actually taking back from greed. Because greed never owned that in the first place. But here's the thing. There's always a certain aspect of greed in the human capacity. We know that. Why? It's part of our conditioning. That's why we can't write it off totally and still be honest brokers of truth. That's why it's so important to have that honest broker of truth. so that when you have to call upon it in times like these, and you always tell yourself, you've always said, if there is ever such a time in my life, and I know this, I've always said it, if there is ever such a time in my life that something so seriously honest was in front of me, I would acknowledge that. Even though everybody's playing the game and I'm playing the game with them, I would acknowledge that. Well, this is that kind of truth. That's why it takes courage to say it. Because nobody is really capable of doing that so easily. They have so many other things, if they know it even. It doesn't take just knowing it. That's why I give so many people the credit for knowing it, and they know what I mean. And the thing is so many people know this. I wouldn't have been able to get to these kinds of answers myself unless I first was able to separate the me aspect, the egotistical side, the egocentric side that said, well, it's just me in this. Because at the heart of it, on my deathbed, I realize it's not just me. That's darkness. And in that darkness comes more lightness. And in that lightness is everything. And how can you tell to the face of everything that it's just you? I realize that. And so I'm speaking to that, and I know it's there. That's what I'm talking to. So, and I have confidence in that. I live in a magical world, one you guys, many of you don't think exists, and it's fine. It's not a crazy world, and I have a right as an American, at least still so far, to have my beliefs and to share them. It's open. It's in the open hemisphere. It's not some kind of a crazy anything. It's the answer that I think we all search for, to have happy, healthy, wholesome lives. And we need and seek that. But it's hard to get to. But when you start angling yourself, it's the perception. And the only reason I can even help you perceive it is because of where I'm coming from. That's so important. I'm a communicator. I know how to communicate. We need a president that can communicate and also help restore our faith, folks. That's why we need a president who can inspire us, who ultimately can help us be humble. It starts with your own humble heart. That's why I'm way down here talking. It just makes sense to the humble heart. And I've never ignored that humble heart, nor the honest broker of truth in myself, ever. Even though I've made mistakes, those mistakes were all at that time justified. Remember, love makes compromise, but yet we still make so many mistakes, even because we lack knowledge. So the things that we're playing with at different points in our life, we're just not equipped to handle certain things. So we make big mistakes. And those mistakes, they are mightily big. And they make us pay so hard. I've seen people build their companies up from nothing. Even they themselves may have started in a family with something which is a lot more than me and a lot more than so many people. But yet they themselves don't ever get the recognition. How does that feel? Because of their roots. See, I know that stuff. And I also know that when they do, and the hell that they go through is no different than anybody else's, and it's real. In fact, it's even intensified because of the perceived advantage they get. And we see that a lot in areas of racism too. We just have to be honest brokers of truth and look at the world in such a way that we can explain it back to the world, that we can agree on what's the problem so that we can just have honest solutions. These folks never meant to do wrong, and neither did I. We never go through this world with the hope of something bad happening. Remember that covenant between each person when they have their personal secrets like that. That covenant is, we'll do good, and we'll love doing it. And we'll have to sometimes do this and that, but don't worry, because we'll be good. That covenant. and it's a sin. I think you're putting out a lot of other souls when you do that, because in my world, we'll do good, and we will do good. So it's just a difference in a fundamental belief system that is at the heart of it, the honest broker of truth, telling us all what makes the most common sense to do. So it's written on all of our hearts. It's not something that just is owned to one person. Like, it's not that I came out from the woodwork and here I am. Jesus Christ has arrived. Now, could I say with every certainty that I'm not special? Oh, no. Look, I come to you knowing how special I am. And I say that you're special too. That we all have value and purpose. And we have to restore that value and live that purpose to have a meaningful life. So that's what my point is for being out here. And that is the fundamental reason why I am running for president. I think the country deserves a good, plain-spoken president. Somebody who doesn't have to spend so much time talking about misdeeds, but can focus on you and the love that we all have and get this stuff done. That's exactly what we need to do, and you know it, we all do. The question has always been, can we rise to that? I really think we can, but maybe not if I didn't come forward, or if you don't come forward now. Maybe not if then. But I think this way, then yeah, I'm confident. But no matter which way it goes, I'll always be happy, and I'll always be prominently out there as your happy healer, lifting you up so that you can be engaged. That means you can safely be a part of this love. It's not going anywhere, even if you have a bad day. I sure enough have them. I know what they're like. My goodness, bad days, boy, they can kill a life, can't they? They just chew it up and spit it out. That's why we say we know what greed does. Greed is the result of all this hell. But we also know it's part of our human conditioning and that we can't ignore it. And that love just pretty much loves everything. But it fixes everything. Love heals. Love doesn't forget either. Love is the thing that'll remind us to go back and do what we forgot to do. So love is always a remembering force. See, so when you have greed in action and it says, you gotta wait, you know that that wait means never. But when love says you gotta wait, you know that that wait is required. Otherwise, you might not even get it all. But that wait is just maybe because they gotta go do something outside of the purview of what's even reasonable. They go to extreme lengths to live and love. And so when they come back, you know that they have an answer and that the answer works. That's what love does. I know that power. So all greed could ever do, and I've seen it happen over and over again and have cried because of it when you understand it so well. And I just see it and it's like, oh no, man, that was love's and greed just came and took it and everybody thinks it's right. But here's the thing, when you can wake up that honest broker of truth in folks and that they're allowed to be for sure about what that truth is, then we can get somewhere, because that's the power. That's all the power we ever wanted. We're always after that truth. Remember that. We are always after that truth. We love that truth. That truth loves us back too. It never lets us down. It feeds and feeds and feeds. Even when we have forgotten ourselves, that love shows its truth and its love back. And you can't worry. You gotta stop worrying. I've learned the first thing I did before I ever came out in front of the public to do anything, there was no guarantee I would be good. I just know that I have to do something. So I'm learning the media. I'm learning all these different things. I'm developing my character, my persona, who I am to the core based on the fate that I am living. It's all real. It's my feelings coming out. The ghosts that would have been standing at my bed had I forgot about them. And I listened. I listened. I didn't just ignore them. And it's serving me well. So now here I am getting better at everything I do. And it's continuing to serve me well. And I put it on display so you can see. It's that love. So how many times did I have to embarrass myself? And then even now, it's the only people who are familiar with the story that appreciate it, and boy, do they. It does so much for them, and it does so much for me. It's real, and it's growing, and it's getting better, and I'm not complacent, nor will I ever be. It's a human story. It's one of struggle. And it's triumph over tragedy. It's a story this country needs. And it's a real one. It's my story. I think we're doing just fine, folks. For those of you who are supporting me, I really do. Because at the end of the day, all that ever matters is what you do right, and that it is right, and that you do it with love. That's all that ever matters. Everything else, it just doesn't even matter. So the same advice that I give you, I could take, we could both follow it to the T, and that life will serve us well and get better. That's so powerful. Oftentimes the advice you give, it's only good if you put it in for this example or that example, but you have to hold it back here. Here's the thing with love. Love does make compromises. So you know that you're going to have to do certain things, but that all goes in with the power of love. Love always provides those answers. It's very giving. That truth is written on your heart. Trust me, nobody's this smart. And neither am I. We all pull from each other. And the thing is that's all I'm pulling from. That's why I say, I release my material, you can use it. We gain so much from that. In fact, when greed tells us we can't share, what happens is it holds us back, and then we never get to the best that's greatest for all of us. And that's really all that ever mattered. Quality of life. Having a great experience now. A life worth living. And then maybe we can extend those lives. But right now, most people, they're pretty happy with the fact that you die early, because they would prefer a longer life, but this life is kind of hell. And they've come to agree, a sad story, that death is better. That if you just ride this out long enough and do your death, then that's where you get your salvation. But I don't know. How come that's got to be so damn true? It seems to not be working so well all the time. It seems to not be working so well all the time, and it leaves a lot of people in despair, and it turns a lot of people away from God altogether, because people want hope in this life, and some people, they question whether there could be a God at all that would accept that. How come they would put us here with that kind of horrible justice? These are truths. So I say unto them, you don't have to be upset. There's another way too, you know. And I happen to have that way. And that it's an optimistic view. It's the right view. And it's loving. And that if we pull together our resources and times and energies and love, that we can build so much more upon that. And that self-determination and how we get to the most freedoms in our lives where it matters most. And to keep those freedoms, what we always lack is anybody that's capable of directly and expressively making that pitch clearly for the people to understand. That's why the honest broker of me in me and the love in me and everything that I'm allowing my heart to develop in its own way is molding me in this direction. It makes sense. It's just what the honest broker of truth would say and do and want and think is the right way to go. And we have to serve that honest broker of truth, don't we? We have to. Let me check comments here because I know some of you guys have been following this and you're up to the moment, which I'm proud of you for, because others, they're so scared they don't want to talk in the moment. And I'm proud for those who do. It's the right way to go. And so I'm just getting into this bad boy now, and I'm going to say hi to you. And we have to serve that honest broker of truth, don't we? We have to. Let me check comments here because I know yep, so we're right here. I'm just right here with you, some of you in the comments. And just saying hi to you. Is there anything on your mind? And let's see if we can cut through anything also, because sometimes we can. I do it all the time with my friends. Let the part of you that is worried about anything go. Let it go. Just let that part go. You don't need that part. All it does is hold you back, ever. That's all it ever did. And that's all it'll ever do. Why do you have that? Let that go. You don't need that when you love. Love don't leave you exposed. Love only loves back. And I bring that wherever I go. It's a shining bright light everywhere I go. And I feel it because normally people have so many bad people coming back at them, and I really don't have that too much. And I thank God for that, really. And when they do come, they hardly make a dent in my psyche because I know what I'm doing is so righteous. So why is that got to be a problem? That's not a problem for me because I love. So I'm right here with you guys this time. I'm in the comments. What can I say? How can I help? Because what are you dealing with today? What kinds of problems are just aching at your heart? What hardships are making you feel like you can't be the loving person you really want to be inside to the fullest? What are those things? Are there any? Of course there are. Are you spending the time with yourself to discover them? Well, that I don't know. And that's how we make progress. We talk. And we listen. We allow ourselves to be heard. Oh, hey, Kaya. Oh, I'm online right now. I'm actually on the show. You want to come on for a moment? Oh, I want to hear. Well, why don't you tell me real quick? Don't worry. There's like one person watching. Chill out. Just tell me what you did. Hold on, Kyle. Hold on. Hold on. The devil's trying to interfere. Don't let that happen. Hold on. Okay, yeah. Tell me what you did.
What?
Tell me, what did you do? I want to hear.
So I took like 3 side tables and kind of set them up behind where I'm recording my intro video.
Right.
And I took a bunch of my plants and set it up on there. So in the intro video, when I'm like introducing what I'm doing and welcome to my channel or whatever, it's going to have tons of plants all behind me and it looks really pretty. And then I have my company logo, Little Buddha Plant Co. on the TV screen.
That's how we do that.
And like I have so many fish tanks and they're loud, so I unplugged all of them, and then I can still hear the AC when it's on, so I turned it off.
Yeah.
And my audio sounds good, but I lost a lot of the light, like when it was brighter, it looked better.
Yeah, so you got that lighting I gave you, though, so you can make it brighter.
I do, but still, like the natural, because where I'm sitting is the desk, and right in front of the desk it's a window. Right. And earlier the lighting looked really, really good when it was brighter.
Yeah.
So I recorded it like a million times, and I messed up, but I got better as I went. Oh. So my roommate's out of town for like 2 weeks, and Jacob's not coming back till Thursday night.
Right.
So, because I have like this all set up in the living room, so nobody's going to come. So I'm just going to leave it, and do it again when it's like brighter light, you know? Well,
I'm proud of you. I think that's great, you know, and this is a big change in your life because you're actually doing something that really I think you wanted to do the whole time, but, you know, it's like people don't follow their dreams because they feel like they got to worry about what other people think, and that's not the truth.
Right. I don't know if this was ever like a dream of mine, but I've
even just to stand out, it's hard to, because people always, they're so quick to ridicule that, but really you're just doing something that serves your life worth living for you, in some sense.
Right.
That we're all trying to just be heard a bit by our passions. And you can build your business doing it. You said that was a goal too, right?
Yeah.
That's right. You could definitely...
I mean, I see a lot of these...
I'm going to help you out with it.
I know, like, a lot of these YouTube plant people, they sell, like, a lot of their stuff on, like, Etsy and stuff, so...
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Right now, I'm just playing with it, and it seems fun, and
we need hobbies. That's why you got to do it, you know?
Yes, I always know I can count on you.
Yeah, of course.
For that.
Yeah, well, we all need
hobbies.
All right,
I got to go. I love you.
All right,
bye.
Talk to you later, Kaya. So the way it works in my life is I have people that I mentor, that I help, and they're friends, they're family, they're everybody, because that's my role. I'm the happy healer, of course. And so they call, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and some things, you know, they've seen over time, they've taken my advice a lot and really have found lives that they're just so happy in, overcoming some of the darkest areas. And why is it that someone like me can do that? Because I've been there. Why is it that someone like Senator Sanders can't do that? Senator Sanders, did I say? Yes. Him, but also the other one. The girl, what's her name? I don't even, you see, I'm not a very political person. My mind is right here where it belongs. Senator Warren. So Senator Warren, she says she has answers for the opiate problem in this country, but she never experienced that hell I did. She never had to deal with the kind of hell that I did every single day for so long. And then in its aftermath, remember, from 2014 all the way until today, 2019, I have been in control. And even before 2014, because I made the decision to make changes, including to go to Germany, that would help me ultimately with my drug addiction as well as my passion. Remember, I've been living for the happy healer for a long time, and that has been a helpful thing for me the whole way. And it helps everybody that puts those practices, those values. I've had people that come to me and say that I saved their life. And I say, no, this is God, it's truth, live your life, man, have fun, you know. It's a very selfless thing. That's all it could ever be when you do it right. But it is very giving, because you don't have to demand anything. And that makes everything genuine. It's got to be genuine. You can't force anything. Everybody tries to force their results. And look at me shine. I'm a 40-year-old man that gets mistaken for being in my 20s all the time and every day. And I wear no makeup. Oh, and that's the other thing. They accuse me of wearing makeup. I don't wear any makeup. No makeup. I'm just a dude. I'm a dude. He's a dude. She's a dude. We're all dudes. I'm a dude. Yeah. It's good to have a lighthearted sense of humor. And when we are in the right frame of mind, it's easy. So it's important to, and it's easy. Just think about that kind of world where people are really loose and happy, like we all want to be. That's why I'm your happy healer. People think that's about, in this world, they think that's about being a clown, and they laugh about it. And then when they realize why I'm laughing back, they run. It's true every time. That's because they have that shame, and I don't have that shame. That's why, like, when they're making all these things and remarks and da-da-da-da-da-da, love protects me. It always means I have the best answer back. And either way, if I don't have the right answer, it's because I learned something. So I'm grateful. I have the right attitude. Love sends you in the right way. It's the right energy. It's the one that makes you successful every time, even when you lose. That's why it's so special, I say. And no. So I'm going to continue coming on and sharing this stuff, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to take a break now because we could all use a good little break, and then I have a lot more stuff coming, and a lot of it's raw. I think the raw stuff is good. It brings you in the mind, and also I remember what I'm telling you, it's part of a curriculum. So the previous stuff is all different information, kind of yielding to a mind that helps you energize your growth, because love is a building force. And if you can collectively take all of the lessons of that love, and that I'm building them into characters, their own sort of characters, and I talk about them as such already, but I want to develop on that idea more. And ultimately, I want to hold these truths accountable in the real world more. I want to go to politicians or go to pundits directly out in the public where they are. And I want to steal energy from their conversations and then get my love up in there. Love can do that. And it's powerful when it does it. And then I do the media, just in case somebody forgets to cover it right. I do the media. Love provides for all that. Love keeps us talented. It keeps us falling forward. So for me, it was never about, and I said this a lot in the past, and it just remains true. It was never about having hundreds or thousands of followers that watch your every live show. Instead, it's about make sure you have yourself appropriately in the right place, ready to take this message in, that you don't have all kinds of distractions, and that if it coincides when I'm on live, even better. But if not, make sure you have that at least, and ultimately to listen to it. And the number of people doing that are growing so high, it makes me so proud, because all I ever really wished for was to make a difference. And guess what? You could change one life and do that. So we are building, however, a life worth living. And that's the goal for me too. And that love, it always gives. It never runs out of tricks. So it's just a continuous motion forward. And unlike greed that runs out of tricks every time, love creates. So we're creating as we go, and we're living a life worth living. And that truth adds up. It adds up from the top to the bottom, in between, and every other which way too. As Christians, we are able to find that truth. So I'm dialing into the honest broker in every Christian, because the truth is there to see. The truth really is there to see. We just need somebody that can explain that truth, and that can respect that truth, and that can be an honest broker of truth while doing it, and that they come from the right place, that they can't be way up there and still get the minds and hearts of the people, but they got to come from the people. That's where the problems are. That's where the answers have to come from too, if an honest broker of truth is to have a part of the deal. And we all know that. But the problem has always been is finding us in a human being in this world that has the wherewithal, the ideas, and the ability to take on that kind of leadership role and still have to deal with the world that they put in front of us. And the drug addiction, and the death, and the despair, and the hate, and the insanity, And I am not part of that insanity. That insanity is because of all this hell that's put upon us. And so I am a reasonable voice calling in from the wilderness, and I say, there is a better way to go, my fellow Americans. And that is where my candidacy comes from, and that is what makes me a politician. Otherwise, I'd probably sound more like a preacher. And the fact is, I am not a preacher, and nor am I a politician. I am God's, I am yours. We are all family, and we are all so much more capable than just one thing. Remember that always. So when I come back on, that's what our game is. That's what we're playing. It works. And I love putting it to the challenge because it builds faith. And I put it to the challenge every shot I get. So if you think you got that special stuff that you can talk down this plan, then please do. And the same thing goes for all my church friends. The same thing goes for all my truther friends. The same thing goes for anybody who's got that, because that way we can build on that truth and make it the best. And we do it with humble hearts. Nobody's better than the next guy. If it wasn't for each other, we wouldn't have any truth. And it's that truth that we all seek. We only get that in a humble heart, or we lose the biggest truth of all. The one that we have been seeking the whole time. The reason why we made our biases, and we've held on to our biases. The only reason we have biases is because we think it's the closest thing to the truth that we don't quite understand yet. But now I give you the path and keyway to a truth that is far beyond what you have, and say it's still so much more. In fact, it looks like a complete truth compared to yours. And that's many of you. That's not all of you. So what I say is, come on back and be a part of that. Continue to grow with the program. God loves you. He loves all of us, and that's the grace that we get to live in. I have a guest coming up sometime soon, shortly. His name is Phil. He'll be able to share a little bit because he inspired me on that issue, and I see just how much love he has for the Creator, and he reads and studies the Bible so well. And I know, Phil, you're eager to tell that story as well, and you'll do a great job at it, my brother. I have faith in that as well. And that was a great story, and it was exactly what I needed to hear. And for me and my message, it helps bridge the divide between the differences that we have as people who love God. It means we can all come together, that we don't have to live in our disunity, but that we can have unity in the church, in our land. Truth provides for all of that. So try to help this message. Try to be part of that solution. And donate. I have given away. You got it right here on the screen. And try to help. And don't talk your way out of it saying somebody else will do it. Otherwise, it'll continue to be nobody. I already put the numbers on my site here. I don't have my website up. It'll go up there once it does. But the numbers are out, and it's just over $700 on what donations have been so far. But that's very small, guys. I've been at this for a long time. Let's try and do better. That's your job. My job is to show up and do a good job, to be a good candidate, and I do that. But I need you to do your part too. And we can do something so special. Good night, God bless you, and we shall see you all soon, right here today. I am not done, we're just getting started. First cast of the day.